Let me ask you, as we sit here in your home office in Indiana, did you take any classified documents with you from the White House?
I did not. Our staff reviewed all of the materials in our office and in our residence to ensure that there were no classified materials that left the White House or remained in our possession.
That's Vice President Pence a few months ago after the Donald Trump document scandal. Turns out he did likely have classified documents in his possession at the time. Today, the former VP announced his lawyer found them in boxes at his home in Indiana last week and turned them over to the DOJ. So now we have one former president, two then former vice presidents, and of course Hillary Clinton with classified documents they weren't supposed to have. Either all four or spies, or maybe America does not do a good job keeping track of its secrets. I would suggest the latter. Call it perhaps incompetence over conspiracy. We don't know how exactly many classified documents exist in America. That's classified. But estimates range from 50 to 90 million new ones a year. Problem is, nobody actually keeps track of them. So we also don't have a real number. For our younger viewers, there used to be this store called Blockbuster where you'd go and rent movies on VHS tapes. It was amazing. You would then return the tapes. If you didn't return them, they called you and then they charged you fees. You couldn't rent any more tapes until you had returned the ones you had already taken out and paid your fees. At this point, Blockbuster appears better at keeping track of movies than our government does at keeping track of its most closely guarded secrets. Marc Lotter knows a lot about government secrets, used to work at the White House under President Trump, Vice President Pence. I feel like I should ask every important person now, do you have any classified documents?
No, I don't, thankfully. And when I left the White House, I was happy that my security clearance did not come with me.
So I'm confounded by this. Because on one hand, you hear Republicans and some Democrats say, if I took one classified document out the door, I would be prosecuted. Yet everybody has these things. Is it really that easy for presidents or vice presidents?
No, it's not. Well, it's a little different, I think, for the president, the vice president, than it is for the average federal worker. Obviously, when you're dealing with the president, the vice president, or in this case, even a former vice president, you've got documents that are moving between the office, their official residences. Then, obviously, everything is being packed up. And to the example with Vice President Pence, the lawyer who found those said that those boxes had not been opened since they had been packed originally when he moved. So there was probably no opportunity that he would have even known that they were in there.
Fair enough. I think about top secret, which presumably some of these documents have been, depending on which person we're talking about. Potential grave damage to American national security, disruption of foreign relations vitally affecting national security, compromise of vital national defense plans or complex cryptologic and communications intelligence systems, on and on and on and on. I still can't figure out how it is that if these things are so secret and so important, that it's possible that they could just be shoved into some boxes and sent in a moving van. It doesn't seem to fit with the description of what these are. Is there just too many of them?
Well, I think, yes, there are too many of them. I remember when I was preparing to travel overseas with the vice president, all of our meetings about those trips were taking place in a SCIF, or a secured facility where you could look at classified information. We would see like a PowerPoint presentation on who we were going to meet. It had Wikipedia information on it, yet it was considered classified. So, I mean, does that really need to be classified? My intern could do that off of Wikipedia. So, there are things that we do. Now, part of it is because the planned movement of the president or the vice president overseas generally would be classified. Does it need to be classified who we were having tea with, in the palace? Probably not.
Or does it need to be classified 2 years after the trip? Probably not that either.
Well, in that case, there are things that continue on from administration to administration.
That's a fair point, but I get if these really are important secrets, how do we get to the point that the president and vice president, when they leave office, and others aren't just taking it with them?
Well, I think part of it is, and I think there was a story detailing what happened with this, and I'm sure it happened similarly in many administrations, is that when you were done reading some information, you had what was called a burn bag. and you just threw them away. And then the military, who are trained in classified documents, are handling those. They're disposing of them properly. And in some cases, if it gets mixed up with other files, other papers, again, there's a number of levels of classification, and the rigorous monitoring of it, it goes up higher and higher you go.
Thanks for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to subscribe. Click the red button to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.